Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the Awesome Walter YouTube channel. If you like what you see, make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when new videos are going up. Hello everybody!
I hate Aladdin!
It really did it.
We've been talking about doing that beforehand.
I didn't think he was really going to do that. So I had an interesting thought. I love hearing debates about films and stuff. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I started that show, Real Debates, on an old channel that I had when I was going to college. I just love talking about films and why people agree and disagree on things. So Aladdin seems to be a very divisive movie.
It's splitting this country apart.
It really is. It really is.
More than anything else.
It's I don't know if it's a surprise hit, but it's made a ton of money at the box office and is a huge success. I was not looking forward to it going in after I saw the initial trailers and stuff.
Same.
When I first heard about Aladdin live action, I'm like, that could be pretty interesting. Maybe they can go some different routes with things. And then I saw the footage and I was like, okay, it's going to be bad. But I have to see it because Aladdin is my favorite classic Disney animated movie. So I really wanted to check it out regardless if I was going to like it or not. And then I started seeing the reactions coming from you guys. And I was like, I really got to see this
The right
now.
reaction and the wrong reaction.
We'll get into that. I first saw Doug's review and was like, wow, he hates this. And I don't always agree with Doug on some of the movies that he sees and stuff. But, I mean, I was pretty sure this is probably what I was going to be thinking. And then I saw the Tamara's Just Saw review of it, and I was like, okay. This is a much different take. And then I saw Malcolm's tweets, and he said some very controversial things we'll get into. And I was like, wait.
This can't be.
Hold on. I have to see this now. So I went with my sister, and we saw it, and I'm not going to talk too much about my opinion on it till the end.
Okay.
But I wanted to talk about your guys' differing opinions on it, because you could not be further apart, I don't think, on this.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, there's stuff that you guys really legitimately seem to connect with about this movie.
Yes.
And some of those same things you absolutely hate about it. I mean, obviously, there's a bit of a generation gap here. I mean, maybe
I'm the old fart!
He's the old guy.
I hate Aladdin! That's going to sound so loud on that every time I do that.
That's going to be the title of the video. Almost make your skin green.
Mid-blur as I'm coming down like that.
That's it. So we're going to get into, first of all, the overall opinion of it. Then I'll break it down to a couple different categories, like the actors and the songs and stuff like that. So
cool.
Let's go overall opinion first. Doug, one of the quotes that you had from your review of it.
Sucked. Did you go with that one?
Awesome. You went you're intricate with your sucking here. You said, if you thought Beauty and the Beast remake was bad, this technically is worse. That is what you said.
It technically is, though I didn't dislike it as much as the Beauty and the Beast.
You said
I love Beauty and the Beast, the original, more than Aladdin. Yeah.
So this didn't offend you as much, but you said technically this is worse than that.
Yeah.
That was your opinion on it.
It's not funny.
Right, that's what my
Aladdin's
next note.
Meant to be funny.
One of the notes I said, movie isn't funny. That's what I said. You said, quote, scenes just they drag on forever or they're way too quick, and you never feel like any of the emotion you're supposed to feel for these characters or any of the comedy. That's another quote. You said,
I feel like I'm in court. You said, yes, review.
You're on trial. You said it felt lifeless and it drained you. You said, quote, I feel like this movie made me dumber.
Whoa.
You said, quote, this is
Good God.
You said,
I'm sorry.
This is kind of so bad it's funny.
I do remember that.
You said, quote, this just feels like a paycheck, which I think we all can agree, at least in some form, this is a paycheck.
Totally.
And whenever they tried to quote the original, it was awful. You hated the climax with Giant Iago instead of the more traditional one that was in the animated movie.
Spoilers.
Right.
Let me put it this way.
I think if you're watching this,
if that Iago had the voice of Gilbert Gottfried, then that'd be an amazing climax. I'm gonna get you! Like, that'd be amazing.
that would have been pretty funny. One of the positive things you said about it, you thought the orchestrations of the songs were actually better in this than they were
Yeah, for the
in
most part,
the
yeah.
original movie. So that's Doug's overall opinion.
I said one or two other nice things.
You said, but that's
I said Jasmine.
that groups into
That
the
actress
other
was good.
categories,
Yeah,
which I'll
okay,
get
okay.
into after. But this is just the overall. Tamara, you have seen this movie 3 times. You've seen it 3 times.
Yeah.
What are you drinking there?
Some of your quotes from the Tamara just saw. I went in not expecting much. I had the best time with this movie, you guys. Is one of the quotes.
Oh, you had to put in you guys, so
yes.
we know it's Tamara.
Yeah, exactly.
You said, quote, I feel like I'm really apologizing a lot for liking this movie, but at the end of the day, I mean, I totally understand if you don't like the live actions because I never have up until now, and it's difficult to give things a chance when they've disappointed you 5 times. But also, you quoted, this is a quote, I loved it. Though.
I did love it. I do love this.
So accusing it, I loved it, though. Loved.
I did.
No.
L-U-V-D.
I
Not
did
spelled
feel
right,
like-
but you loved it.
So I felt like I was apologizing for liking it before, and then the second I finished filming it, Doug's video popped up, and I was like, oh, let's see what Doug thought. And it was like hellfire.
And Tamara's watching this go to hell.
And Malcolm, so you didn't do a video review of this, but you did put up some interesting tweets.
Yes.
And the overall, you had 2 tweets. One fits into the actors discussion, but your last tweet about this, quote, so I saw it a second time, sober, in parentheses. Animation.
That is probably the best way to watch this.
Yes. Animation versus live action aside, I think the remake is a stronger movie. The writing and direction is complemented by the live action performances and overall concept. Shrug emoji.
Yeah.
Sober?
Yes.
So for this category here, the overall, before we get into specifics, let's talk about this here because we obviously have very different opinions here on this movie. Malcolm, I gotta start with yours because it's the most jarring kind of thing. You think that this is a stronger movie than the 1992 Aladdin animated?
Fucking white.
Well, it's like Doug was saying. He said that the original animated movie was funny. It was very funny. It was very comical. But by today's standards, what is funny is a little bit different now, and that's kind of like the selling point for the animation. As like animation aside, you had Robin Williams in there. He was very energetic. He was very charismatic as the Genie. And,
He's being his usual self.
Yeah, being his usual Robin Williams self. And that's kind of like what was the honestly what made Aladdin. With the live action remake, it's tonally different. It's tone. It's not necessarily meant to be, funny. It's like diving more so into the characters.
Well, did a very good job of that.
Well, it is more so diving into the heart of the story and paying homage to the Middle Eastern diaspora with the traditional dances, the garb, and the set. It was all it was more respectful, if that's a way to put it. It wasn't so much as the original Aladdin was more of a caricature,
I was saying it's kind of nice that there's a token white person in there.
Yeah.
Where it's I don't know if anyone in the original cast was was Arabic or anything like that.
Right.
So it's one of those things where it's just okay, it was nice to have an actual cast
Yeah,
that is the
right.
nationality, as far as I know.
Right, and so that's what I was kind of really drawn in by. I'm like, oh, okay, now this is kind of fascinating, seeing the Bollywood choreography and whatnot. And
That's some of the best stuff. Honestly, the best song number, in my opinion, is in the credits. Like that whole dance that they did in one shot. I was just I wish there was more of this. Why wasn't this in Prince Ali instead of them just standing there like this, and then a bunch of CG flies by him? I was just where's this dancing? Where I wanted to see that.
oh yeah.
Tamara, you've seen this the most out of anyone here so far.
Probably out of anyone in the world.
Anyone in the world, maybe. So in your initial review, you said that there's no way it can top the original. But do you think after seeing it 3 times now, are you agreeing with Malcolm on that point that it is better?
I think it's come at different points in my life.
Okay.
I feel like the animated.
It's only been out for a week.
No, I mean the animated version.
Oh, okay.
Different. Every time I saw it, I was in a different state of
I
mind.
know. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I've just changed so much. No, I mean the animated. I freaking love the animated, and I really did, but I haven't seen it in years. This hit me in like this really fun, nostalgic, but like, I don't know what it is. I never rewatch movies.
Yeah.
My whole thing is I don't like watching movies. So like for me to want to go, I have to drag myself to the theater. That's so stupid to say, but like sometimes it's true. And so like for me to go 3 times, I don't know. It just like hit me right in this like just fun, carefree, stupid, like smiling the whole time spot. I don't know really pinpointing like what it is, but I think they're different for sure. But right now in my life, yeah, I think that I do enjoy this one more.
Wow.
But I haven't seen the
interesting.
animated in a really long time.
Well, I was going to say, I mean,
Yeah.
something, I mean, obviously talked about this a
guys.
lot. How much do you think is connected to the nostalgia?
Right,
of
so
it?
a lot, I think. I think it hits like in the perfect, like, I know this already, so I like it. And then also, like, it's new and it's like live action and I don't know. Yeah, I think a lot of it.
That has a lot to do with it. So, I mean, one of the things that I enjoyed about it is sort of diving deeper into some of the character stuff and getting more detailed things, especially with Jasmine,
Yes.
which we'll get into. But just overall, in that side of things, is that it kind of just, we got a little bit more. This is a half hour longer, I think, or a little bit more than a half hour longer.
It
So
feels even longer.
So seeing more of the character interactions and stuff, I thought was one of the strengths of the movie. Getting more of that kind of thing, and I don't think it's because it's live action. I think just the fact that they dedicated more to that made certain aspects more enjoyable. But I don't think it's better than the original one. Like in almost any way. I think the original, for me anyway, is like amazing still.
Abu and Aladdin have so much more chemistry in this.
Well, okay, I'm talking about like the strengths, like what makes it stronger, not necessarily like it's like overall a better film.
Oh, changing the story
said it-
now!
you said it was a
I said-
stronger
I said
film.
stronger,
Right.
but like
It's impossible
It's
to not
impossible.
compare them.
it
is
is.
impossible,
It really is.
yeah.
Like
Well, this literally would not exist without that one.
Well, of
It's
course.
not like,
Yeah.
that this is a fresh new take. It's like, no,
Right.
we're changing
Yeah.
a few things, but we're doing the same thing.
yeah, and it makes it like it's hard to not compare, but I don't want to compare it because one is animated and one's live action. It's hard
You
to
can't
like
compare them, but also you can't not compare them.
right because like it's
No,
like,
let's give her it's impossible not to compare them because because it isn't something where it's like, hey, we're taking a classic story and we're going to, Hamlet and Lion King are two very different stories. It isn't like, well, Lion King's good, but it's no Hamlet. It's like, no, they are so different.
Sure.
But it's still essentially the same story. This is the same songs, the same
Right.
characters, half of the same lines. Somehow the same voices out of half of them. Like Aladdin sounds just like Aladdin. So it's one of those things where it's like it's impossible not to compare them, and whether that helps it or it doesn't. I mean, there are some movies where that helps. Into the Spider-Verse, we all
right.
know
Right.
Spider-Man. We're sick of Spider-Man, but that movie really took that
I
and
love
used
that
it to its
movie.
advantage.
So good.
Yeah,
Totally.
and I love if this did something
Yeah.
like that, but I feel like it really didn't.
yeah,
Okay.
I guess what we're more so comparing is like the concept. I guess if we had to draw comparisons, because like when it comes to animation, you can do stuff like and control the art in ways that you can't really like control necessarily like a set unless you like throw in a bunch of CGI, which there was.
Which of course they
There-
didn't.
there was CGI, but particularly when it came to the Genie stuff, like there's
Yeah.
still like a lot of practicality. Like with the set, like I feel like they use miniatures to get Agrabah.
There's
I didn't-
there's one that's a literal miniature
Yeah.
on the Sultan's
Well, yeah,
desk
right,
there,
right.
but yeah. I don't know that they might have mixed it up a bit.
Yeah, which was fascinating. It's like
The sets were great. I mean,
Yeah.
that's definitely like the production design on it. I really liked.
yeah.
sure. Let's get into our second category here, which is the actors and stuff.
Actors and
Actors
stuff.
and
I can't
stuff.
wait for this stuff.
Yes.
What could it be?
Wait for the stuff. Doug, some of your quotes from your review.
I just love that, like we're in trouble, like we're.
I know, I feel nervous.
And then you said.
Allegation.
Doug, on the 1st of June, you
Not guilty.
quote: Will Smith is just dying. he is dying in this role.
Yeah, I said that.
Quote, just pick a random guy from the street and that's Jafar. He has
Objection!
no presence whatsoever.
No regrets. No regrets.
And also, you, I couldn't get a solid quote on this, but you said Jasmine and Aladdin are mostly good. You mostly enjoyed their portrayals.
I don't remember saying that. Never happened. Show me the video evidence.
Uh-oh.
So,
You gotta play it back.
you were kind of split on the cast overall. It seems like a lot of people really like Jasmine in this. A lot of people seem to like Aladdin because he's like Aladdin, with also sort of putting his own spin on things, I think, just enough. And the Will Smith thing, I think, is the biggest divisive part of it. Tamara, with the actors, you said you didn't really love Jafar. I think that's a universal thing.
I think, yeah.
You loved Aladdin and Jasmine, and you liked Will Smith as the genie.
I really liked him.
Malcolm, your first tweet about this was, I like live-action Aladdin, especially the genie, Will Smith. Don't at me.
Yeah, don't have me. Don't have me.
So let's, before we get into Genie, which is probably the biggest thing,
Oh, yeah.
let's talk about Aladdin and Jasmine. I think Jasmine being the more standout in this movie.
Yeah.
Naomi
Definitely.
Scott is a really good actress.
Oh, man.
Obviously, I'm required to be a fan because she was the newest Pink Power Ranger. And I thought she did really well. I thought her singing was great. I thought the new song they added was really well done. I thought her new motivations were really fun to see play out on screen.
Holy shit, yeah.
And I like the original Jasmine. I don't think that, that was like one of those characters, those female characters that just was there not doing anything. I thought Jasmine had a good character.
It was kind of, it was just at...
Just enough.
No, it was just at the height, and this isn't necessarily its fault of, yeah, I'm powerful, but it's a drag. I want more, I think that was just the point where, like, kids, I feel like we're starting to pick up on that, like, okay, the last 3 or 4 were like this, so I feel like that's a little bit of an issue with that character, but I mean, for the most part, like, the two of them in the original really legit had chemistry. Like, they were a little Gen X-ish, which is a little weird. Like, he's definitely like a skateboarder.
Totally.
And she's kind of like a hipster. Well, I'm not into this. I'm blah, 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 but they...
Hipster Jasmine.
Yeah.
It's a new cosplay.
That's a thing. Yeah, come on, the glasses
Yeah.
and everything. But I mean, like, they legit had chemistry, and that's something I really liked. In that era of Disney films, I thought for the most part the man and woman, each one had chemistry, and I thought they did that well. Even if it's like whatever, a 3-day romance or something.
Right, it's really quick. But
yeah.
still, so that compared to this one, do you think that Naomi Scott and what I don't remember the
Masood?
yeah,
Masood.
something like that. I
I
know
think
it's
so.
MM.
Mena. It's Mena.
Yeah, do you think they had chemistry in the new movie compared to the original? I mean, Doug thinks that they had a lot of chemistry just with the voices, so...
Wait. The original is what I was talking
Which
about.
one are you talking about?
I was talking about
Original.
the original had chemistry.
Right, yeah, the
Yeah.
cartoon.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
what I'm saying.
just making sure.
Yeah, you're saying that those voice actors had
Yeah,
chemistry.
this one
and
I don't think.
you don't think they did. Do you guys think that Jasmine and Aladdin had enough chemistry to carry this movie and the new Aladdin movie?
I don't think it was like anything particularly striking about the chemistry that they had, but it was enough to be like kind of realistic. It's like, someone that you just meet, there's some sparks there, but you're not like, all over each other.
It's not like a Disney movie where
Right,
you
right,
fall in love
exactly.
and marry them in 2 days.
Yeah.
They were grounding Jasmine a lot more.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, she was like grounded. Like she wasn't like this damsel that needed like rescuing from this
Yeah.
Sure.
provincial life.
Well, and it
right?
wasn't like, what is the word that I used in my review that's not a word? It wasn't like panderingly so. They
Yeah, you
weren't like
said panderingly, I remember. Is that a
panderingly
word?
so to us. They weren't, I feel like it was like just,
That extra song, you didn't get that?
I fucking love that song.
All right,
I
Sorry
thought
for
the song
cursing.
was great. I mean, like, I can
no,
see
love
why you
that
would
song.
think that.
No, here's my thing with that song. Because, first of all, thank Christ it's something new. I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, cool, another song, please, more
Yes.
new. But, you have a little preview of it early, which I kind of liked. And then you have her being dragged away. And the song, I think, is okay. But I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, what happened? So it's in her head. And she turns around, they disappear, and she sings her song and says to the guard, no, turn back. The guard turns back. And then they're just thrown in jail. Anyway, they're captured. I'm thinking...
No, but that leads to her
No.
being able to be salted at the end.
No, okay. But what I was going to say is how cool would it be, first of all... In the original, like, she sees Aladdin jump over once with, like, a pole. She's like, got it. She's like, I'm a fast learner. Cool. Like, I got it. She's awesome. And this one, I can't. I don't know. I can't. I just like she's afraid to do it. So that already pissed me off a little bit. But second, how cool would it be? She seems to be friends with the guard. Like, how cool would it be if, like, they were really good friends? Like, he showed her, she's high up, and shows her how to sword fight, and then she's singing that song, stealing a sword in slow-mo, like, fighting these guards off, singing that song. Like, how freaking cool would that be?
You mean still in her head?
No, like actually in real life. Like, why not? Like, actually fighting them off. No. Like she goes, she fights them off. Maybe she has like the sword at like Jafar's neck or something like that, and then she talks to the head of the guards. No, this is what you taught me. This is how it works. So now you have both. Because that's part of what I liked about the original is that she could kind of leap across. She could do some of this cool stuff also, and not be too, on the carpet. She's like, yeah, let's go. That sounds like fun. She seemed a little bit more outgoing, which I kind of like.
This is still Aladdin, though, right? So where would that have gone? No,
it's still no. So she uses the string to get past the guards, while that song would be 10 times better. And then she uses the diplomacy, which I do like the diplomacy. I like they have to actually do political stuff, which they usually don't do in Disney movies.
Sure.
It's not like Princess Diaries. It's like wave the fan this way. It's like no, we're actually gonna talk about shit.
Don't talk shit about that movie. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
but I do like that they talk about that.
No, me too.
But I feel like that could have been like. You could have had both sort of the action element and the diplomatic element, and they could have balanced out really well. And I think doing that for me, it wouldn't feel as forced, because there's no other scene where you're in her head. I think that's why it sort of jumped out to me, because in a movie where literally Will Smith is a genie singing songs, there's a million of them, and you're going in and out doing all this cool stuff, suddenly, now we're going abstract into Jasmine's head and the way she views things. I'm like, nothing else in the movie is like that. So I feel like if they kind of meshed that a little bit more, it would have been fun, because they clearly got actors who could do that.
Yeah.
But like she's got, even though she does, in my opinion, I don't think she says much that's interesting, but she says it like it's interesting. She puts this great passion into it.
Yeah.
Right. I think though, if talking about seeing, the female character, a strong female character is very like a kind of a trend right now. It should have always been something, obviously, but like that is something that everyone's doing.
Yeah, it's counterculture.
Right. So I feel like if they went that far with Jasmine, I think people would have, pointed that out and said, "Oh, Jasmine wasn't a warrior princess. What the hell is going on now?"
No, but that's why I think if you have like the diplomacy in there too, like that will balance it. Because I agree. Because that's something I think a lot of us hate when it's like, hey, there's a strong woman just to be a strong woman. Mm-hmm. That's boring. She has no personality as that, but she brings the personality. She brings character to it.
She
And
does.
so I feel like if they had it in there, like she could balance that out. That's odd. Maybe because when I was watching it, I thought that's what was going to happen. Like she's singing, she's getting angry. I'm like,
fanscription.
But I'm thinking like, ooh, like this is going to be cool. Like, this is going to be awesome. They're bringing a song back. They're going to do something new. And then they disappear. I'm like, is she a genie? I'm like, oh, they're doing this thing.
Well, the first disappearance was a little jarring.
We weren't sure what was going on.
Well, so I'll go the opposite end of strong female. I was pissed that they took away the slave uniform.
That was a cool outfit.
It's a great outfit.
It's not even just the outfit, but that scene in the original is so, like, dire and,
time
that is so interesting and, visually interesting and compelling from a story perspective and from Jafar's perspective. That was kind of his shining moment as a villain, and that's missing from this movie.
I kind of get it. It would have been a lot of CGI and, I don't know. It would have been difficult, but I love that scene in the
No,
animated.
I do too. Like the giant snake thing and all that.
The giant snake I miss. Everything else, it changed. He's an evil wizard now. Like, you know what? If you want to do a giant parrot, cool. What else? Nothing else. Like, that's it. I'm saying you're the most powerful everything in the world. It's like, giant parrot, done. I'm dead. Give me a minute. Whoo!
Such a dad thing to say. If you want to do a giant parrot, fine.
Okay, Aladdin. Just do your chores, okay?
Before we go off onto the other characters, because I think we're about to go into Jafar, one more thing about Jasmine. In that scene where she's talking to Hakim, who is a character in the original, but doesn't have any depth. He's just kind of a thug in the original cartoon.
Right.
The head of the guards, you mean?
Yeah. He talks like this in the original.
Yeah.
And this one, he actually has a character.
Not sound like
he kind of does.
That is Jim Cummings. He
Go
has an
back and
amazing
listen to
voice.
it.
You're talking about the guy with the deep voice like this, right? And the missing
is
tooth.
not
I
true.
love
It
that.
does
I love
make
it.
it.
It's the lips.
He's basically Pete, Arabian Pete.
Yeah.
That's why he's awesome.
Arabian
I love that dude.
No, I'm not saying he's a bad character in the original or anything, but there's there's definitely kind of so far he could go with that goofy
Yeah.
type of take on him. But in this, he's more serious, and I love the scene where he's like, it didn't really make sense because I mean, like, he's just the Sultan because the genie says he's the Sultan, so it's like. If he has that moral conflict,
I didn't really get how that worked.
right? If he has that moral conflict, then why wouldn't he just stay with the real Sultan then? Like that didn't make any sense. Like there should have been something forcing him to go with Jafar and stuff.
Yeah, maybe like
Right.
hypnotizing something.
So, yeah, something that he has to come out of, but that wasn't there.
I feel like they tried to explain it away. It doesn't make sense.
right.
They tried to explain it away in that scene before where he's like, I serve my genie, or my sultan, I mean.
Yeah, but like he's just the Sultan now because his clothes changed. Like
That
absolutely
blue
nothing
guy
about it.
says he in charge.
Right, right.
Right.
But sorry, go ahead.
No, like Genie kept saying, like, you know, there's a lot of gray area when you don't specify. Like he said that repeatedly throughout
Right.
the story. So like when he made him, you know, Sultan, it's just like, boom. But he can't force people to like necessarily like you or
Right.
love you or respect you. You know, that's something that you gotta like kind of earn of your own merit.
Right, but I felt like it should have been a harder turn for him, especially because he's the leader of the guard, the Sultan's guard and everything, that he should have gone, he's like, oh, he's a Sultan, now I gotta protect the Sultan. And then when that song would have happened, there would have been more of a conflict, because there was a conflict before that. He was like looking back and forth before he
That's
went
a
to
good
Jafar's
point.
side.
I will say, if you're gonna say that with both these movies, this is where it's like it's a fairy tale. You gotta.
I
think
get
it's
it,
a
I
fairy
know,
tale.
but, like,
no, it's like
just
okay,
one step
no,
half step further
Jafar
with
has
that.
this staff. It goes to the Sultan. Oh, you will give me the ring, so I can go get the genie, so I can get the lamp, and I can
Right.
become Sultan. Why don't you just say, make me Sultan? Okay, boom.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
You
all-
will have Jasmine marry me. Just make him Sultan.
Right, just add that little thing to at least Hakeem's eyes, and like the
Yeah.
guard has to follow Hakeem, so all you need is Hakeem to be on that side.
Right.
So like then it would have fell into place more. But the point I'm trying to make is when Jasmine comes in and she's having that really great scene back and forth with Hakeem about you know, you've been with my father for so long, you're a very loyal person, but you need to do what's right instead of what is loyal. You know, like loyalty and doing the right thing, the lines are blurred at that part. And I think that was great, but why didn't we get more of those two before? You know,
Yeah.
I was thinking that too. Like that would be really
just
cool.
one more scene with those two, like
Just a little
would have
bit.
been great,
something.
and
Even
that
like
would have
an
been more
exchange of like,
earned.
like
Okay,
an
and you were talking about the slave, Jasmine outfit. I almost said slave Leia. They're pretty similar.
They are.
The
They're
red
similar.
jacket, except for the
But-
puffy pants.
But
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
if you did like whatever, like a Mask of Zorro thing where they're like showing showing her how to sword fight, showing her how to do these flips and kicks and stuff like that.
Right.
So that way, when she goes out with Aladdin too, you can have her like it gives them more of a chemistry too,
Sure.
like they work off of each other and stuff
Yeah,
like that. I
right.
feel like there's, even though I get why they're doing the diplomatic angle, and I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
I just feel like there's a missed opportunity there because I feel like the original kind of had that edge. Like she picked up stuff really fast. When it came to like, you know, doing flips and kicks and jumping across buildings and stuff. So I feel like that was kind of a missed opportunity because that's part of what was
Right.
fun about her.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
They're trying to fit a lot into this
Sure.
live action remake, and you know they did their best, you know, just making Jasmine more grounded, like in this, you know, real world.
There's a sense
situation.
of There's like one of the things I took away from her the most was just this sense of responsibility that she has. That like there's a weight on her
Yeah.
that was not in the previous film. Like there's a little bit of that, but
In this, I believe that she really wants to be Sultan one day.
Right,
And in the
but-
animated, it was just kind of like said that she did.
right.
Yeah.
But this is
Well,
like
wait,
to
let's-
protect.
Let's get it right. She never said she wanted to be Sultan in the original.
No,
she
she
just
did.
didn't
She
want to
did.
marry, so you could
Yeah.
argue that's even more
Yeah,
insulting.
just like-
True.
I want to be my own person. Well, who is that person? I don't know. You know, I mean, but and again, that is kind of the problem with that archetype. But again, I think that actress brought a lot.
Right.
Definitely,
But
yeah,
I mean, her in this one, Naomi Scott, I thought, like you said, brought that kind of sense of responsibility and a sense of really wanting to help the people of Agrabah.
Yeah,
Like
which
she
is-
really wanted to
yeah.
give them kind of a better life. She wanted to go out and be seen by people. They said earlier it was kind of a throwaway thing, but like her mom was killed.
Yeah.
And now the Sultan just keeps her locked up in the tower like Rapunzel or something.
Yeah,
And now she escapes, and we're already at the beginning of the movie, kind of.
Yeah.
So, I just think that sense of responsibility and having sort of the weight of the world on her a little bit, but wanting to have it, like, was much better, a better motivation for her in this movie than
That's why I
Jasmine
keep
in the
saying
original.
it's stronger.
But no,
Well, and I think-
some of the character stuff I agree, but overall I can never say it. This is
But,
think
okay,
that
one
what
character
you're
it's that might be that's debatably better.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other characters, man.
Yeah, true.
Speaking of that, let's get anything else about Jasmine you want to say?
I mean, just what you were saying about how like you don't want to change too much, or else we would get those people like revolting.
Right.
I think they changed her and added to her just enough where it was grounded, and I think it was a really nice level of like she still needs Aladdin there,
right?
She's part of the story, but
yeah,
it's like felt yeah.
I want to talk before we get into the Genie because that's going to be the biggest thing here. I want to talk about Aladdin really quick. He seems to be getting the least. He's kind of under the radar here. A lot of people are either complaining or praising Will Smith as the Genie. Most people really like Jasmine, and she has new stuff to do. Everyone's just like, yeah, I like Aladdin. Anything else? No, he's good.
Yeah, he's good.
I don't like him.
And you didn't like him, really?
No,
I didn't. He looks and sounds like Aladdin. I thought you said.
Yeah, but he doesn't act like Aladdin. He does look and he does sound like him. That actor who played Aladdin, as much as I make fun of, hey, he's kind of like a surfer dude, whatever.
Right.
Like he did have charm, and you could easily see, this guy can smooth talk his way out of something. He can be really smooth with, getting a lady over, hey, all these flirting with all the ladies, and they're either like laughing and pushing him away, or they're legit attracted to him. And with him, like he's got the look, he's got the voice. Something was just a hint flat about him, and maybe part of that is they picked a guy who not only looked and sounded like him, but seemingly could move like him too. Like whenever he's like jumping off the roofs, roofs and dancing, like that's fantastic. Damn. So I would look at this guy and be like, yeah, there's no other choice. But I feel like just need a little bit more. I don't know, some kind of charm lesson or something like that, because one minute he's supposed to be super charming that Jasmine can't, resist him. Just, he's so great. And then other times, like, he's jumping off of rooftops, but then suddenly, I can't dance, I can't move around. What? I did this flip on the fountain? What are you talking about? You jumped over buildings and stuff.
That's true. Right.
So, but it's something where it's like, I felt like he wasn't awful or anything, but I'm just like, man, if you got someone who really could turn on the charm, like, this guy would have everything. This would be like the biggest star in the world because he has like every single element. But I thought like sometimes he got like a hint of a laugh. I mostly thought he was kind of flat.
Okay. What did you guys think of Aladdin? The actor portraying him?
Again, I felt like it's just merely because of the concept being live action. Because if I, came across a guy that was coming up to me like, hey, I'm like, hey.
Calm the heck down.
Like, you're here. Let's,
Hi.
So, like, it's like a palatable Aladdin for like a live action concept.
Okay.
Like, since he's...
You think he had to be toned down?
Yeah, I feel like that's more of like a direction. It's like they're just like bringing him down a little bit, so it seems more realistic. Because if he's like being the surfer skateboard bro that he was in the original, it probably wouldn't translate as
well. Hold on. When I say hey, I don't literally mean he goes like this.
Well, no,
that's more like when he's Prince Ali and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Prince Ali, when he's doing that.
He does have that when he's Aladdin, though, with those big smiles and stuff.
Yeah, I know, he's got the big teeth and everything.
Yeah, especially that side one you just did. Yeah,
it's very Buddy Jesus.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I can see what you're saying about falling flat. I didn't feel that way, but especially, if you're like comparing it to the animated one, which we all are, everyone in the world is, but like, I don't know, I liked him. I thought in the moments that it mattered, he had really good chemistry with Jasmine, and I liked the back and forth too, where like, when he was Prince Ali at the start, like she really wasn't into it. Like I kind of liked that there wasn't that chemistry there. I mean, that's obviously important, but like I don't know, I liked him a lot.
You know what it is? I think they either had to play. They try to play both. They try to play. He's the real smooth, charming guy, and he can sneak in. He can get her the food. Hey there, I snuck in as a waiter. Isn't he charming? But then they're trying to do. He's really quiet and subdued and shy, and I don't know and stuff. And I feel like you had to choose one. You had to really choose one of them and really dive into the charm of either being really shy and opening up, which I would have loved that as Aladdin. I would have loved if he was shy and he was a quiet sort of street rat that would go and do stuff, because that'd be very different. Or if you're going to make him like super outgoing and super charming, you got to really dive into the layers of that too.
Sorry, go ahead.
I kind of want to... Like, I see where you're going with that, but I kind of want to disagree, because, like, the whole thing is about him, pretending to be something he's not. Like,
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, like, when he's, like, in, the street rat mode, he's kind of, like, overcompensating for his lack of.
But that's also his world.
He was like, when you have nothing, you have to pretend like you have everything. And then he gets everything, and he's like, I don't know what to do.
He's like, oh shit, what am I now?
Yeah,
he even says that. He's like, what am I going to show him? How to, steal food, how to jump off buildings.
Right, but
like,
Prince Ali, though.
He's got jewels.
Yeah.
I thought that kind of added to... I hesitate to say like complexity to his character because there wasn't anything like super complex about this Aladdin, but they tried to make him like give him sort of a duality in his personality where when he's in the right environment he's this bright and colorful and charismatic guy, but you put him in another room and he's like the most shy person, and that's like that with a lot of people. I think a lot of people are like that. A lot of people are like the introvert extrovert thing. I think a lot of people are more of a mix of that than we like to categorize things. But I think a lot of people are a mix of those things depending on what situation you're in. And I think they highlighted this with this Aladdin. I really liked him. I really liked this Aladdin. I don't know if he was... Like, the only thing that bothered me about him was, like, is he wearing a wig or not? I couldn't...
Well, the hairline was so weird.
Yeah. I was like, is that a wig or not? It's driving me crazy.
He's got, like, crazy texture, and I think they were trying to make it flat.
Yeah,
every interview I've seen with him...
He's got curly...
Like, super curly.
Curly. Right. Well, the one thing I was pissed about Aladdin with is we didn't get him in that slave Jasmine
And by God, he had a belly button. What's this world coming to?
How do you do that?
Really?
Just magically growing from animation? What?
They painted it up.
Right, they painted it on the belly button. Right.
Actually, he is more covered up, isn't he? Because, he just has, like, a vest. That's it in the original, right?
The whole movie also, I couldn't help but picture that one meme of, have you guys seen that with Aladdin without his pants on?
No.
Oh, yeah. That was so scary.
It's so gross. Because he's got the low pants, so it just looks like...
Yeah, so they make it look like his skin is that shape of the pants.
It's terrifying.
So I was just picturing that the whole time.
Okay, I won't show that.
I mean, it's not graphic or anything. It's just...
Well, okay. Well, I don't know if I want to look into this. So Aladdin we're kind of split on, but, I mean, at least we could say they tried to do different things with him. It wasn't like a one-note performance throughout the movie or anything. At least they were trying to do something different, And that kind of leads into his relationship with the genie and stuff. And also, I really like... The one thing about Jafar's character in this that I really liked is they tried to relate Aladdin to him by saying Jafar, and you mentioned this in your review, that Jafar is kind of evil Aladdin, almost. Is sort of if Aladdin took a different turn. Yeah, that's the one great scene with him, I thought.
That parallel.
Right, is when he woke up before going into the Cave of Wonders, they had this conversation back and forth about if you steal, what's the quote? If you steal an apple, you're a thief, but if you steal a kingdom, you're a statesman. I'm like, that's great motivation for him.
I also love that he steals the lamp, and he does it very sneakily because he was a street rat too. And I honestly would have loved more if they played more into that.
Right, no, I agree. I mean, like, why not take... If you had this different actors obviously having a different tone than the animated version, why not go all the way with that?
Really show them, like, parallel. Right. Like, you could be this kind of thing. Yeah, that would have been really interesting.
Right. I mean, there's still going to would have been people complaining about it not being the Jafar from the cartoon, but at least we'd have a whole different kind of side to that character. And this guy
don't worry, we will get that in the live-action Return of Jafar.
I want the live-action Return of Jafar. But yeah, I mean, Jafar, a lot of people agree is the weakest part of this. It's not that the actor is bad, because the line delivery is not bad.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for this dude.
I feel so bad for him.
But Jafar is one of, if not like the most well-known bad guy in those original Disney movies, or original classic animated movies. The most kind of well-rounded bad guy, just like. He's really evil, loves being evil, strokes his chin.
He's funny.
He's funny. He's got so much charisma.
Evil,
Right. And a big part of his character, I thought, was him being older.
Yes.
Right.
And it being so creepy with him and Jasmine. Yeah. And he's kind of, this is maybe his last shot to really do something while he's young enough to take over and all that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's like 30 in this movie.
Yeah.
And he's attractive as hell.
And he's a good-looking guy and all this stuff. So it's like... What is... This is not... And his voice is all up here.
It's just a normal voice,
He's doing a weird, creepy, just kind of creepy versus
it's almost
evil.
hire pitch, kind of, sometimes.
And I just,
he's trying so hard.
Yeah, I know.
Especially at the end, when he kind of becomes the evil sorcerer and, sort of turns into the genie and stuff, you could tell he's really trying to, have that presence and stuff. But for this character, it just doesn't fit him.
I think just like what you were saying with Aladdin, it's not changed enough, and it's not the same enough. So it's just this weird middle ground of
Should
What
have
are we
committed
doing
to
here?
one or the other.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it wasn't. There was like a lot not working for him, unfortunately. Like if they catered more to his strengths,
Sure.
like
Right.
it would have worked. But they tried to fit a sphere into a triangle. You know.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's a
like-
good point.
Well, it's fine because what you were saying, like, I'm imagining Manuel with like an older actor, a deeper voice, like
Yeah.
everyone is and stuff like that. But then like that would have been great. But what you were saying with like a parallel Aladdin, like.
Yeah.
That would have been fascinating.
Yeah.
Like, have a
Yeah,
Jafar that's
so
younger, and I'm just thinking, like, oh my god, you could have seen what this could have been if they really played into that.
Yeah.
I would say, like, this is a good remake, because this is a new twist. This is a new way of looking at it,
Right.
and it's complex, and it's interesting, and a kid can get it. But they just cast him younger, and apparently they were supposed to do it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Like it's such a good opportunity there, and they were just glancing over it
Right.
ever so slightly, and
Yeah.
it was frustrating. I'm like, oh my god, please
know-
go all the way.
Right? You know what they could do with the Return of Jafar live action movie? They could go Godfather 2 with it and have it be half prequel, half sequel. And go into the deep dive of Jafar's past.
You know what?
I want to know Iago's backstory.
There you go.
Was he a good bird?
While also
A
sequelizing.
pretty bird?
Right. So we all agree Jafar maybe the weakest major character in this. So now another divisive thing we have to get into Will Smith's Genie, which is maybe going to be the
boy.
biggest part of this video here. You really liked Will Smith's Genie.
I did.
You pretty much
dug
liked
it,
him.
yeah.
Doug, you thought that he just wasn't doing well. You don't think
It's
that he
not
wanted
his
to be
fault.
there?
I'm sure he wanted to.
You
I'm
said
sure-
he was dying in this
I'm
film.
sure when he was really there, he wanted to be there. Because that's where Will Smith works best. He works best off of other people. And he
Yes,
works best when he's laid back and chilled. And I'm thinking if they did a Genie where he just sort of like, he would talk and then point, show an example over there, and point, show an example here. Here's an example here. But he's sitting back. He's laid back. He's,
Right.
he's nice and smooth and stuff like that. Like, that would make sense. But when they're trying to do the CG thing where he's flying around, it looks weird. It looks like a Blueberry Casper ghost. And I think when he goes to like the normal, sort of like he's actually there, Will Smith, it works better, but then you can tell like they were trying to. The theater I saw, it just died. Anytime he's trying to like talk with Aladdin, they're talking about the jams and stuff like that. And I don't know, maybe your guys' at theaters, they were laughing. It was just dead in mine.
They were laughing,
and,
Mike.
Yeah, they were
Yeah, they
laughing.
were laughing.
Okay, maybe because, I mean, I was just watching, I'm just like, man, this is like a joke away from working. Like all you gotta do is actually just say something funny. Because you have like the timing, you got the charm, you're smooth, you're not saying anything funny. So, and I don't know, and I feel like if he was more there with the actor maybe, or they had more time to,
Actually
interact.
have scenes together.
Yeah, because I mean, there's so many movies where like actors, they're either good friends or they meet up so they can work off each other. You see some like Ghostbusters and stuff like that where they improvise off each other so well, or whole movies that are practically improvised. In this one, it felt like they're trying to do that, which is not a bad idea, but it still just felt off, and maybe because there wasn't as big a connection there. Even though I wanted to, I love the idea of him trying to, as everybody says, Hitch, trying to do Hitch.
Right.
I love that idea, but it never quite worked for me.
Okay, so for you guys, so you obviously think there's a lot more positive to his performance than Doug did. So what did you connect with this version of the Genie?
Well, for one, like I like that it's Will Smith. Like he's doing his own thing. He's
Because
still
everyone just likes Will Smith.
yeah. Because I mean, because we've seen him when he's like in more like serious roles,
7 pounds.
Like After Earth.
yeah, like it's like you just feel lifeless. You're like, whoa, what happened to you?
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't work
Where's your
within his range.
charisma?
Yeah, but here, he's able to ramp up his charisma. He's able to ramp up his charm, and he has so much range within that tone that it works. But I will admit that like whenever he's in like CG mode, it is kind of awkward. I'm like there's definitely a disconnect there.
Yeah.
But whenever he's like actually there, it's like some of the best stuff like in the film. Like he's definitely like this all powerful cosmic genie with like this swagger. Like he just kind of like knows what's going on. Like he already knew that Jafar. He's like okay. He's like where's the guy?
Right.
Where's the guy?
Is that the guy? Right.
Yeah. Yeah, like whenever he was doing the big song numbers, I was just like drawn in
Okay.
Even in
immediately.
Prince Ali?
Yeah, even in Prince Ali.
We'll get it. I want to talk more about the songs after.
Like,
after
yeah,
this.
it wasn't even necessarily like, him singing, because obviously they totally auto-tuned him and like they worked within his range.
They definitely auto-tuned.
Yeah, they definitely auto-tuned him. But just, the charm they brought during those numbers, it's just like...
Okay.
I mean,
Tamara,
yeah, I
what'd you
think I said this in my review that like, are there going to be awkward moments in this? Yeah, because he's like a 60-foot blue genie and he's like a CGI.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, there are some major like, especially when they're talking to each other and he's like a CGI giant. It's like, it's pretty awkward. But I really liked him, and I think by the end, at that moment when he was freed, I was in it to win it. I loved it. I had been convinced of his performance, and yeah, I mean, it's hard not to like Will Smith, but yeah, I overall really, really, really enjoyed him, and yeah. Prince Ali. That drop in Prince Ali.
Yeah, because like there's
Loved
range
it.
there. Like you feel the tragedy in him being like this enslaved genie. Like, he's smiling and laughing at the same time. He's like, I really don't want to be giving orders.
Well, and I like that
giving orders anymore.
Yeah, he seems like he truly did not believe that he was going to be freed by Aladdin, and he liked Aladdin, but like
I like that was a good
Throughout.
angle where it's like, yeah, sure you will.
he's just not gonna, and that's
right.
okay. Like this happens every time. Yeah. And then it seems like a genuine surprise at the end, and that was really nice. That was like
and
the
you could
emotion
just
I wanted.
see the emotion in him. Like his heart
He's so
broke. He
good.
just like hugged Aladdin. Like, oh my God,
He
thank
pulled
you.
that Pursuit of Happiness face.
Yeah.
I love
His
that
hair
movie.
grows like Pursuit of Happiness too.
The sun
That's
shows
his
up. Let's
natural
go, boy.
He just pulls a sun out of his pocket. Let's go, boy.
Wow.
But okay, like just to kind of like summarize, like that's what I thought was the brilliance in like having Will Smith do it, because he can hit like so many different notes within his comedic range.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that.
And like he is not commended enough on his songs and his music, and he did a good job. This is not the kind of singing or like music that he's like perfect for or great at. They made it work for him, and I think it was a good choice.
I thought they reworked it for him, which was smart because it also made the songs different a little bit too, and they added more to it, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Well, and that's another thing Malcolm and I said today too, is that like Robin Williams is an actor that is just Robin Williams. There's no one that's kind of like Robin Williams in the same, and that's the same with Will Smith. Will Smith is like, he is Will Smith.
Right. See, that's some of my issues where they came in was, number one, I hate the CG and the Genie, man.
Oh, man, yeah.
I just don't see
is
the
awkward.
point.
It looked terrible. I'm sorry. Like, I know so many, I just saw the block of CG artists that goes on the credits, and you're just like, I'm sorry, you guys. Like, because it looks freaking awful, and there's nothing they could do about it.
Well, yeah, it's like, how do you even make that? But you have to do something really different.
Right.
Which, again, when he was really there, that's a little different.
Right, but that's what I'm saying.
But yeah, it's like, how do you make that look? You gotta wait another 20 years for that to look even close to natural.
Yeah, or you could have just minimalized it. I mean, what I would have ideally liked to have seen is he comes out of the lamp in the Cave of Wonders and everything, and we have to get Friend Like Me and all that stuff when he's the genie. But as soon as he's out of there, just have him be regular Will Smith till the very end when Jafar takes him over. We don't need to see him pop out as the blueberry in there a bunch of times. And you could have saved money on budget. You could, I don't think anybody would have complained because you still get Blue Genie. And you still get Will Smith being Will Smith, which I agree with you guys. I think the best parts of the movie are the Jasmine parts when she's like doing her songs and stuff, but a lot of the character chemistry with Will Smith and Aladdin in this.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. I thought that's where it succeeded.
I feel like you could do this without at least not that way, a CG Will Smith, and that you could have had him come out, give him legs, he doesn't need to be, puff of smoke and everything. And he comes out, and then the way you play it, maybe just through, you can still use CG to make like a bunch of him like talking to himself or a bunch of different ones, but but it's still, he's physically there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that would have added, and you can still make him blue and stuff like that, but it's still be like, well, okay, that's Genie. He's blue and he's granting the wishes and he's funny, but now it's their own take too, where he has legs. Yeah. He just sort of appears, he'll point, and there's another one of him. He's having a lot of conversations with himself or something. You don't need to be animated because it's not an animated movie.
And we've already established that he's the Blue Genie. We know it's him.
Yeah.
It's not like, who the hell is
Right. So
We
just
know.
I do
Yeah, I
really
agree.
love the scene in the desert as soon as they get out of the Cave of Wonders. I thought it was really good.
I do
And
love
yeah,
that. So
because
good.
but his performance, like you were saying, when he's actually on screen with people, his whole like mentality and attitude is completely different.
It is.
When he's just doing the genie face on the CG body. The biggest example of that I think is when he has where he comes out before when he's saying you're breaking my heart. I can't remember exactly what part that is.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah,
that's a big scene in the original movie. And in this, it's like, I don't buy that scene from him because, like, you're breaking my heart. You're breaking my heart.
I forgot about that. You're
That was, I was just like,
It feels
oh,
like they
God, if
had
he was
him-
really there, it would have
Yeah.
been freaking
I'm
amazing.
like, why the hell? It feels like they had him do those scenes at the start of production, and then they did the whole movie. And like he was
right.
like, "Oh shit."
He's very different. He's very different.
You're so right. He really
It would
is.
have been much more enjoyable. I think people would have been into it more and been more accepting even because he wouldn't be trying to copy Robin Williams. One of the things that I didn't like, I think was the weakest part, is when they tried to copy the animated movie, scene for scene, shot for shot,
With the
word for word.
Friend Like Me.
Yeah,
that
see
was...
that right. See, some of that stuff is where it just doesn't work because you can't be Robin Williams, man. There's never going to be anyone who's going to walk this earth who can be like Robin Williams.
Well, and
so
let's
why
be honest,
try?
It's Robin Williams animated, like
Right,
legit.
and that's another.
Okay.
Right.
You're
Robin Williams
exemplifying
animated
him.
in an animated world.
Yes, right.
Which is already amazing.
And he's doing the
this
different
is,
voices and
well,
popping into different
yeah.
characters.
Will Smith, he's live action and animated in live action, where everything's already slower and it's not going to mix right yet. We're just not at that point yet. So I mean, it's something where it's like they don't mesh.
Right.
Well, like one of the biggest lines that really popped out to me like that is the da 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 da, and I'm your maitre d', and he was like in his like
Yeah.
the waiter uniform. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, Robin's was like so different than the genie,
When
and
he
then
said
it was
dude, he's like, I'm here to help you, dude. I'm like,
Yeah,
no!
yeah,
no!
Yeah.
Come on, man!
It's like,
yeah.
Damn it, why try?
think
Just
that
do
was-
it.
Well,
Just
they had to give
Give it
the
like a
people who
short
wanted
little
it a
number
little
or
bit.
something. Like,
Yeah.
No, I know.
you
I feel
can't, you cannot
Not
even come
imitate
close to replicating it. And
Yeah.
Will
Yeah.
Smith can do his own different thing and be
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
as successful.
Clearly, yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was frustrating.
I hated that line in the original too.
What?
I'm in the mood to help you, dude.
I loved it to help you, dude. I loved it because that was so Robin Williams.
No, because he read that line just like. I'm gonna do a voice on that because that's terrible.
I love it because he does change his voice and stuff.
yeah.
And a lot of the stuff from Friend Like Me works because he could change his voice and do those different characters. And Will Smith's great, but he can't do that kind of stuff. That's not his
Right.
forte, you know?
Right. He's Will Smith.
Right, exactly. So that could lead into the songs and stuff if you want to start in Friend Like Me. Doug, your stuff on the songs was you liked Friend Like Me.
I actually did. Yeah.
Your quote for Prince Ali was, the only song that was just a complete bomb, like, wow, did that do nothing? It's like my favorite song is Prince Ali. Now, Tamara, you said for Prince Ali, that song was so incredible, and he, Will Smith, was great in it. The energy...
That song was da bomb.
The energy was so good.
So good.
You also said Jasmine slayed with her vocals. I agree with that. Some musical numbers were sped up visually, which we'll get into. And you thought that was jarring, which it did kind of stick out. I agree. Malcolm, you didn't have anything specific about the songs in there, but let's start with Friend Like Me. So we've established my thoughts on that. Malcolm, you are like in between on it.
Yeah, Friend Like Me was honestly not the strongest song number
Right,
in
I
the
agree.
in the movie. Honestly,
The weakest one.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, here comes Genie Will Smith. I'm like, oh no! Like after that song number, I was like, really, I lost a lot of hope.
You didn't even get into the visuals or anything?
Well,
or is
the
it just too
the
awkward?
very
the
end,
visuals
I
I liked.
I like the very end when they're doing the splits and jumping from like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
was
that
awesome.
I thought that was
okay.
really
That
cool.
that part was great. Yeah, like when they were actually like dancing together
Right.
with Mina.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude is incredible.
Yeah.
He's
So
incredible.
amazing.
Yeah. So like I liked that part, but it was like when they were like trying to like recapture the originals like lines and the quippiness, I was kind of like, ooh, don't do that. It's like, oh yeah, show me more of that. Show me
Right.
more of that live choreography. You know.
That's kind of what I like is that I felt like, because again, like you said, Will Smith's not going to get that energy that Williams had. He's not going to be able to change his voice. So I felt like cleverly in this, they let the visuals kind of do the fun with it. And maybe I got to see it again, but when when the song happened, I felt like when they were using him, there's one or two times where he goes close and back with the camera and whips around, but it just seemed like there was a lot of him, and each one is doing something kind of different. And they're like, he'll be over here, then he'll be over here, but he's not moving. He's not like, it seems like it's actually like kind of his body there or in the suit or something like that. So yeah, I felt like, and the energy seemed pretty good. And even though that is probably, I don't know, I felt like the way it was written for him, and it had kind of a different beat to it a little bit and sort of a different tempo. I was like, I like this okay. Like, if I saw this and I never saw the original Aladdin, I'd actually be like, this is good. I like this. This is creative. This is fun. And even comparing to the original, I'm like, if I'm going to see like a big, version of this with Will Smith doing this song, that's kind of what I expected.
Yeah, that is fair. Like, again, like when it was like the unique elements that catered to Will Smith's strengths, it was perfect. And when they catered to Mena, I cannot say his Mena.
I'm gonna look up his name. I'm sorry, dude. You're not watching this.
I'm sorry, dude. You ain't never got a friend like me. And I forgot about that. Yeah, the dancing at the end where they both did that, and just what a cool scene that
It
was.
was so cool. Anytime that Mena was dancing,
yes,
it was fire.
Mena Masood?
Mena Masood, yeah.
Masood?
Yeah, whenever they showed him dancing, acting off of Will Smith's, his chilled coolness, like it just worked so well.
Sure. Right. No, I agree with that.
Yeah. I love the scene where he says, "Can your friends do this?" And he does a dance. Can your friends do that? And he does it. Like, it seemed like, well, you're taking the idea now from the original, but you're bringing it to live action because that will be impressive in live action. If he spun his head around and had a bunch of them, that's gonna look like crap, But when they dance, it's like, oh, they're really dancing. They're really doing that. So I felt like that was a good combo there.
I like the fake out too. He starts like the small thing and then goes big, and I think that was cute. And I liked it. I liked Friend Like Me.
Okay. I think that the bigger division here is with Prince Ali. Prince Ali was like my favorite song.
That was
I love
in the new one?
In the original, that was my
mine too. That's my favorite too.
In the movie, I actually really liked it. I mean, like, I was.
What am I missing?
I was expecting.
I just thought that was gonna be the obvious Dead on Arrival. Because if you like the movie, everyone's gonna hate that.
Who saw that clip ahead of time?
That's what I saw in the movie too.
Okay, so I saw the clip and I didn't like the clip, but in the movie, I actually really liked it.
You know why? I think this is why, is because Will Smith has such a chilled out version of the Genie, and you see that clip and you're like, where is the energy?
Yeah.
But when it all comes together and you know that the Genie is chilled out, it makes sense.
In context.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, so
I loved it so much.
I did really enjoy it.
Yeah, he's like this chill, cool MC. Like, he's like
Right.
Prince
Yeah.
Ali's MC. He's like, let me tell you about, Prince Ali.
Right.
See, I'm down for that. I'm actually totally down with, like, if he wants to be there, like you said, just MCing, even though he's just like this. He's not moving his hands, he's just like this. Whatever, cool. It's called Prince Ali. Your dude can dance. Get him out there dancing.
True.
Why not have him go out there? And then so he goes out, and then like all the people around him, like, well, okay, well, they're like in the movie, they're gonna have swords. They're gonna throw them up turns and get them and slice them together and do all this stuff, and they're just like this. They're all just kind of doing this.
They were dancing. They totally
doing
were.
the traditional Bollywood stuff too.
Oh, okay. You can have a little bit of this. You can have
a little bit of
No,
this.
I want freaking throwing
this
shit in
part
the air.
in.
I want throwing shit in the air. I want blowing fire. I want Prince Ali. I want that ending song sequence
He does
in
the camels.
all CG.
The breakdancing.
The breakdancing. I feel like there's a ton of dancing.
What was that? Man, I just remember mostly focusing on them. People going, wow, and like that's
and I
it.
also feel like I understand what you're saying, but I also feel like him being awkward on the elephant is like him being super uncomfortable because it's our first time seeing him
That's true.
as Prince Ali, and so he's just like, what am
He's
I
like,
doing?
what do I do with this?
Okay, what if you're gonna do that, then you have to. Oh yeah, and that's right. He can't dance. That's right. Until Genie shows him.
Well, he doesn't know the traditional dances.
Okay, well he could have gone out there and done something.
True. Okay.
Why wasn't that a
'Cause it
part
was
two?
part-
He says, imagine the ground is building tops. That would have been cool. Like, and see maybe a new dance he does. It's just like anyway. So you got. You got all these people that they're like, they're sort of marching and going, yay, and maybe doing a little bit of this, which is like cool. But think of the dance number during the credits and how amazing that was. Just imagine Prince Ali sung over that. And like how and then throwing some swords too, and people breathing fire, and like stuff that's not CG, stuff that's actually there. Like that's what I really thought I was gonna
They wanted
get.
to match.
Sure, totally.
That was one of the times where it was kind of blurring the line of matching the original and then also trying to do something a little bit different because they can't do everything they did in the animated movie with Prince Ali. So
They can still make him a woman, which was really weird. Well, Will Smith.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Still had the
funny.
beard. I thought that was funny. Yeah. But they had like the ostriches or whatever. Like they had, they matched
had
some
that.
shots in there, and also in the original, like Prince Ali didn't move from the top of the elephant or whatever. He didn't come down and dance or whatever. But that would have been an interesting change. I agree. But how it played out, I just thought was great. Like this little parade, and then they go up to the Sultan and everything, and they're waiting for the Sultan to like start
to
doing the
love
different
that
beat.
part.
I was like, I don't like this. I really like this.
I did like that. I like the slowing down the beat and then really bringing it at the end.
This
I was
is
like,
no, this is amazing.
Again, because it was different, and I
Right.
liked
Yeah.
when they did something different. Same thing with Arabian Night, where I'm just like, okay, here we go, just gonna sing the song. But they played with it.
Right,
They
yeah.
played with the tempo. They added some new verses and lyrics and
Yeah,
stuff like
they-
that. And same thing with Friend Like Me, when they switch it up, I'm down with it.
I will say I did love Friend Like Me, but or Prince Ali, but swords would have been cool.
Yeah, so it's been awesome.
I don't know. I saw kind of like, it's almost like a sequel to Mary Poppins. It's like Mary Poppins with Nazis. Bedknobs and Broomsticks, which literally has something like, I don't even know, like a 10, 15 minute segment of just people going out into the street, all sorts of different cultures just doing these dances, and people clear the way. And it's only something like 5 people at a time go in, and they just do this stuff that's like, wow, holy smokes, and you know it's really there, and it's so cool. And I was just thinking, like, man, I'm sure they'll have a lot of people, but in the center they'll have something like 5, 10, people go in and just do something really choreographed and beautiful. And it just seemed like it was either cutting to something else or cutting to something CG that if it was in there, it gets lost. I don't know. I think there's, in something where it has a lot of CG, I think just doing some very practical dances that were in other places in the movie, but I think that's where it needed to be like the most.
So put more into it is what you would have wanted to see.
More actual stuff, less
CG
CG.
stuff.
Less
Yeah,
CG.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I did really like it though. I mean, like that. I don't know if it was quite the high point for me in the movie, but it was one of the high points for me. I really enjoyed it. We've established that for the most part we like the Jasmine songs. I think we all
And I
are.
know that I won't go speechless.
So you didn't like
What was the
No, I
first
hated
one?
it. I love it.
Although on Brad Jones's review, he did bring up a good point. He's like, okay, all these songs have like a tone, when they were written, and then all of a sudden you get Frozen, Let It Go, which is kind
I
of
said that in my review too.
yeah, oh yeah, which is a very legit point. It's like, I think the song is fine, but it is like, well, this was written later.
Yeah. I said that in mine. I was talking to a friend the night before I filmed my Tamara Just Saw, and I was like, it's like the Aladdin's Let It Go. And he was like, was it as pandering as the women assembling in Endgame? And I was like, no, it was not that pandering.
Well, that is a different combination of female Avengers. If you read the comics, you would know.
Yeah, but why did they all come together? Guys, shut up, you don't know.
Well, and the worst thing about Endgame is that Thor wasn't in the slave Jasmine.
Especially the punchy belly.
Oh my god.
That's just gonna be everything
Yeah,
now. One of the
yeah.
worst things was in the Slave Jasmine.
There were a couple of numbers that were up front. Like there was like this very short song that she sang.
Well, the first reprise of, or it wouldn't be the reprise, but the
Yeah,
are you
the
talking about
preview.
that? The preview
Yeah.
of Speechless.
Speechless. Yeah. I like that. That was beautiful.
Sure.
That was
So
beautiful.
good.
Yeah.
You know what's and you can't blame the movie for this, but this was a shame. So when the first movie was gonna come out, there was a song written, and they were just like, we don't have time. It doesn't match with the story. And this, I felt like, man, that would have worked. There's a song where Aladdin sings about missing his mom, and they have a
right,
reference about
right.
Jasmine, Jasmine's mom being assassinated and stuff. I thought, man, that would have been something they could connect on.
Right.
That would have
That
been
would be
really
amazing.
something. Yeah,
Right.
and it's a shame because I think it was one of the last songs that the original lyricist wrote. They had to switch lyricists halfway through before he passed away, and I was just like, oh, what a missed opportunity. That
That
would have been
sucks.
so cool to get that. Finally get that song in there.
That would have been
Was
so
that in
cool.
the musical, the live musical?
I haven't seen the musical.
I have, and if you guys haven't seen that, you need to.
I hear
check
it's a
it out.
trip.
Yeah, it's great.
It's really good.
Great.
I hear when they're like,
That
I
song,
can
though.
show you the world. Don't they literally show planet Earth? Like, it gets
I think
really
so.
odd.
Wow.
The
good,
Cave of
though.
Wonders, the set's amazing. Like I think I like that better than this movie, but it's good.
Well, it's a high bar.
Well, it's higher than you think. I really enjoy the music because the genie they got for that. I've talked with Rob about this a few times.
Interesting.
Yeah, the genie in the musical is just like unbelievably charismatic.
Yeah.
And he takes it a different way than Robin Williams did. He's a different kind of charisma, but he's just so fast talking and
Loud
like
and funny.
oh, he's
and-
great.
Yeah.
He is so good. And this is Will Smith, which is great.
Yeah.
But I mean, like they tried to make him Robin Williams at some points, and that's where it didn't work.
Yeah.
So if you guys haven't seen, I'm sure it's still playing around somewhere.
I hear it's
but
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that and you're a fan of Aladdin, you gotta go check out the musical.
Something nobody really talks about, or I haven't heard many people talk about. I'm kind of indifferent, but I want to know your thoughts. We think of a whole new world.
You know, it was. I remember it was just like it's just all right.
Fine.
It happens. It's done.
It's not bad. It's
think
just like yeah.
The best
okay,
part about
I
it
saw the
is
world.
Yeah.
the connection that they get before and after it. Because they
Yeah.
have they first start to connect after he finds the spot on the map, and then they go, she sees the magic carpet, it's exciting, and then
Right.
they get back and they have a really nice moment.
Yeah.
The song is cool. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those
It
where
wasn't
I'm
like
like,
a showstopper.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking to myself, it definitely wasn't the original.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, man, if only they could add something more. But it's like, what can you add?
Sure.
But even to the song, I feel like maybe you could play more. Maybe you could have like a counterpoint melody or something like that. But it is one of those things where it's like, I guess it would be tricky. I'm sure people are like, oh, the song's enough, just leave it alone.
Yeah.
But it's like, it is one of those where it's like, when you don't do anything different, it's like, you just kind of forget about it.
I agree. I also do think that is the one song that if people changed, everyone they'd be
They would.
pissed.
There's
'Cause
a
that
lady
is-
sitting next to me who sang the whole frickin' song.
Because
I was
it's
like
the
looking over,
well-known,
like
it's
she's singing all of Jasmine's parts. I was like,
oh gosh,
awesome.
shut up.
Very funny.
Let Jasmine sing.
Yeah, like, Naomi
She's
Scott's
singing.
doing pretty good. Can you stop trying to sing? And she wasn't even sitting next to me at first. Like in the middle of the movie, she came and sat right next to me.
Really?
I had the open seat. I had the arm room and everything.
I hate that.
And then she sat down and sang a
Right
whole new
next
world.
to you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like
She came and said, will you sing with me?
I'm looking a little lonely.
right.
You can be
she was
Jasmine.
she was with someone else and was on the other side of them, and then switched seats for some reason. And I really wish she didn't do that.
Yeah, definitely.
And my sister asked afterwards, like, was that lady singing A Whole New World? I was like, yeah. Yeah, she was.
Wow.
When you heard, like, something that didn't sound right, that was her trying to sing this freaking song.
Well, one of the things, they moved a lot of stuff around, and it wasn't bad, just seemed pointless, or, oh, okay, now when you said that line, it's less relevant, or whatever. But it's something they did do that I was like, okay, that's a good addition. I like, he meets Jasmine. The fact that we, know it's her, she's not a peasant or whatever, you can debate that. But I like that he goes back to the palace. I like there's another meetup. And I like the way he does it. He sneaks in,
Right.
shows his abilities more. It has one of the few legit funny lines, which I love. He's like, this cat isn't going to feed it? No, this cat's not going to clean himself. Isn't that what cats do? I like that. That's a legit good line. So I think that's one of the few additions where I was like, okay, I like this idea. I like it. The more chemistry you can build between them, the better.
I did like that too when he takes the thing for the next day and then she's waiting.
Right, that's a
It's
good
nice.
little, like, not Easter egg, but you know what I mean? Like a little plot device to kind
Yeah.
of meet again.
Yeah. Like there was some good, I was like, yeah, okay, keep going with that, keep going, and then it kind of just fades away. But I was like, okay, you had something going there. I like what that was building with.
And I really, really love that handmaid.
Me too.
Yeah, she was just so adorable and charming. She was honestly really funny too.
I liked her a lot.
I thought she was all right. She didn't do too
She
much for me,
did nothing
but-
for me.
Really?
Oh yeah, okay. We were
She was
talking about
okay.
Kathy Najimy, the actor. Imagine her in that role. Like, wouldn't that
Sure.
just come alive if she was there? I feel like, you know what it's like? We were talking about with Mary Poppins Returns. Like, there's some actors, any performer, where it's like, oh, they're acting weird, and then there's some who are just genuinely weird.
Right.
And I felt like she was acting weird. If you got someone that was genuinely weird, a legit weird actress, it would just fall in love with her.
Sure.
Like I feel like I just would have thought she was just so great, and that'd be even greater chemistry with Will Smith because he's very natural and comfortable in his
That's
skin.
another
and everything.
thing I really liked about Will Smith's with the genie in this is that he had like this little love interest thing, which when you hear it on paper, that probably sounds terrible.
I saw that on Twitter first, and I was like, God,
Yeah.
Right.
dang it.
But how
No.
it plays out in the movie is cool because they have that
I
little
liked
prologue with him and his kids and stuff, and
I
that's
liked
it.
kind
Yeah, I
of
was like,
he wants to have a family and he
He
doesn't
wants to be free.
right. He wants
his
to be
life.
free and wants to have a
Yeah,
life. for
kind of
himself.
spoils the ending a little bit, but
A little bit, but I mean,
although it does follow through technically with what the original was going to do and never did. In the original, the reason Williams voices the guy, the salesman or whatever that is, that guy is because that was going to be the genie.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Yeah, because he's the only one that has 4 fingers, right? He also has 4 fingers.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and he's kind of dressed in blue and
They were-
everything.
they
But
were
then they
gonna
were
do
like,
that.
they just scrapped it.
Yeah, I liked that edition. I thought that was really cool.
It gave him more of a motivation and like an opportunity for for us to feel more sympathetic towards him. I think because he has like human emotions, but he's not human.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's really cool when she sees him as the genie with Jafar at the end. And
Yeah,
it's-
he
Yeah,
just
she was
doesn't-
so confused. She was
Right.
like, huh?
See
Yeah.
that was a scene where it was fine that he was blue because that would have worked
yeah,
for that.
right.
But yeah, for the other scenes, that was like the best stuff. I just thought when he was just not trying to be Robin Williams in the big blue thing.
So what did
There's
you
that
guys
part when
think?
he's like lifting weights too, and I was like, come on.
What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Why is this happening right
Yeah,
now?
I know the genie's buff. Okay, haha.
Yeah, we know, we get it. So what did you guys think of, I forget what the song is called, it was the second in the movie. One Jump.
Yeah, what is the name
Oh.
of that song?
Oh.
I love it.
I think that's it. One jump. That's what it's
One
actually
Jump?
called.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah, I like that actually.
Why though?
the speed
Why
up
the
thing.
speed up
That's
thing?
what we had to get into.
Really?
Well,
Okay.
Was it? Go
I
ahead.
feel like that was like paying homage to Bollywood.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. No, because here's the thing. My first initial thought was, oh, did they miss the timing on something?
That's
They
what
had to
I
speed up.
thought.
But then I'm looking
It's
at the
too
lip.
much.
But then I'm looking at the lip movements. And I'm like, no, they had to film this slower. So this is done intentionally. And then I'm like, Bollywood does this sometimes. And then when they
Okay,
did
okay.
at the end, I'm like, okay, this was intentional.
Well, and a
I
lot of
see, I
people in
see.
my comments said that it was Guy Ritchie, that's his like
Yeah.
signature move.
He
I
does
thought
that
slow
sometimes
mo
too.
was his signature move. Right?
No, it's both. He was big when it was like have something go slow mo and then really fast and really quick and then slow
he's getting a
mo. He
little
was
Snydery in there.
he was Snyder before they were Snyder.
I
It is true,
I was
yeah.
always there.
If it was like
always cool.
if it was a nod to Bollywood, I think that's cooler. I just didn't know that. But if it was just a Guy Ritchie thing being Guy Ritchie, it was
Yeah.
kind of weird.
Yeah, it stuck out.
It
to
is.
me.
It did stick out because it's not done. It doesn't quite match everything. Again, it's kind of like the song sequence with her. No, now it's in her head. Where else was that? This happens, I think, during that scene and then during the end credit scene, and that's about
That's it. I didn't even know.
Yeah,
something
where
like
if that was again, if you want to do like a weird Moulin Rouge, Romeo and Juliet, Baz Luhrmann thing, it's like okay if you can make it work, whatever. But it's like that was kind of it.
yeah.
But I don't. Yeah, well, but again, he was so good at flipping around and jumping off buildings. It didn't feel needed.
It
you
did.
know?
I agree.
Right before that, I noticed that they were doing a slow mo thing when he's like swinging on a rope or something, and the lips were matching and stuff too.
Yeah.
So they obviously, I was thinking like, did they do that because they missed timing? But I was like, this is a major Hollywood movie. They had to have had
There's
coverage.
no right. There's no
like,
way.
to cover that, so this had to be intentional. But I was just like, why?
Yeah,
But yeah, the Bollywood thing. That's a good point.
That makes
I
sense.
didn't-
Okay.
I didn't know that.
That makes
Okay,
sense.
well, mystery solved.
Yeah.
That's the assumption. Because he does do that too, but he'll
Right.
slow it down and then speed it up and slow it down. Like he'll do a bunch of fun stylistic stuff.
Right.
Touching on the Bollywood thing, that the party in the palace, that little dance number, that was amazing.
It was
Yeah,
I'm talking about that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Are you talking about in the middle of the movie?
Yeah, in the middle of the movie. when
Oh
they
yeah,
feel
no,
like-
I love the stuff with him and Genie at that point, where he's
Yeah.
like forcing him to go talk to Jasmine, and he just
And like
does not.
flicking his arms
Right,
around.
Yeah.
right,
I
and
liked
he's,
that.
and he's moving amazing.
Yeah.
Him
Jeez.
pretending not to be doing that is
Yeah.
so well done.
That's like
That's hard.
true art.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
and then
no,
it
that's
clicks when
crazy.
he like Genie makes him bow down, and then it clicks, and he just goes into it. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a clear switch. I loved it.
Yeah, I love the scene when he walks in. He's like, "This is a party. I've
like-
been in a lamp for 10,000 years.
I want to party.
Right.
You're not about to ruin my night.
Right.
You're gonna have to go back to the room.
Right. Like when he's explaining, like, my usual day is like, oh, brass.
Brass. Oh, is that some
Brass.
gold
That's
there?
some
No, brass.
That part was really for
Yeah,
it,
that's
too.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, like, when you're just letting him be himself, I just wish they would have committed to that more.
Ironic,
What do you have
because
to
that's
lose?
the message of the original. He should just be himself.
Right?
Oh, you get it?
Ironic.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
Subliminal.
Right. But it's like, people are going to see this movie, it feels like, anyway. Maybe it did a little bit better than expected, but why not take the chance then? Like, if people
That's
are going to...
kind of my thought. Yeah.
Right, but like maybe some people are gonna. There's always gonna be people who are gonna be mad about why this wasn't exactly like the original or whatever. But people are gonna see a movie because it's a live action Aladdin movie. This is your trend right now. Why not try and do something?
Because
like,
Disney
way different?
is like not doing that right now, and it
But,
sucks.
but I don't. But they're gonna make the money anyway.
Right,
Like,
no,
what-
I
Well,
totally
but-
the
so
ends are justifying the means anyway.
Well,
Right,
but
right.
statistically, the one that did the worst was the one that was least like the original.
Which one is that?
Pete's Dragon.
Oh,
Which-
see, I don't remember that.
Never saw
Nobody
it.
remembers
But
the
Pete's
original
Dragon's
anyway,
not like
though.
this major
So that's
movie.
yeah, I was gonna say nobody remembers the original
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
But with Disney, it's like, well, look, they're seeing everybody's going to see these films
Yeah.
that we don't change
Aladdin's
a thing.
like one of their
Why
top
should we put
5?
in more needless work when we can put more work into something else? You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, it sucks. I wish they would do more original stuff, but it's one of those things where it's like, just from a business standpoint, it's just like, attach some talented director and just rip off half the storyboards and half the script, write a few
Right.
extra things, and boom, you're
But
done.
that's what was so frustrating about this to me, is that the different stuff works so well for me.
Yeah.
Is that, and we're talking about the Jafar thing, going that angle with Jafar, making Will Smith's Genie less CG and more really there and everything. And, just keeping Jasmine the way she was, I think this would have been like a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really
agree
want
with that.
something. I want something that takes the idea of the Disney one, and not even like the original Fairy Tale or Arabian Night or anything. To take the Disney one, which is fine. You can go off of that; it's very different, and then really explore the idea. Don't do it again, but change a few things. Explore,
Right.
Like really, really dive in there and be like, okay, what other different angle can we do with this?
Yeah, that
and
would
really
be
have fun and be like, okay, the anime one and the live action one are very different things,
Right.
and you
Yeah.
can watch them both and get a very different story.
Right, and that's one of the things Malcolm brought up, and I was talking with Tamara about this, is watching them back to back would be an interesting, even the way it is now, it would be interesting to see like these two different tonal
Yeah.
shifts, on the same legend or whatever,
Well, Andre has brought that up in his review as well.
Yeah, okay.
That like a double feature of this would be really awesome.
Right. Yeah, there we go.
I think for me, I liked everything that they changed. And like with Jafar, with Genie, if they would have pushed that even farther, I would have been on board. And then still, for some reason, it just hit me in this nostalgic, like, it was just fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
I had a good time with it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have been mad if they would have changed a bunch of things. And I get the feeling that they thought people would be pissed
Yeah.
if you change stuff.
Oh, people were going nuts when they thought Will Smith wasn't blue. They're like,
Right.
what?
Yeah,
What?
Yeah,
And
never
it's
saw
like,
blue.
yeah,
I'm
because
like,
that's what's
what's
most
important.
important.
Oh
right.
my
blue.
Calm
God.
down, Twitter.
Right.
I think
yeah.
they actually took a jab at that. He was like, "You see my color blue? He's
Yeah,
like, "I'm
yeah.
actually- this is sky blue. I'm actually navy blue."
Right. Okay, we're back. Sorry, I had to cut because we ran out of battery because we were talking for so
We
long.
talked for a long time.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It's been a long time.
Okay, so we're just gonna wrap it up. I think we've said just about everything we wanted to say, but we'll start with Tamara. Any final thoughts about the comparison, or just your thoughts on the live-action Aladdin in general?
I mean, again, like I said in my review, I super understand, like, everything you're saying. I get why people don't like this. Again, for some reason, it struck a chord of just, like, fun and, like, comfortable, but it elevated it to, like, a live-action level. I was smiling throughout every single song. I loved it. I went into this really thinking I was going to hate it. I thought it was too long. Why is it over 2 hours? Why are we doing this? Why? And I just loved it.
All right,
The end.
Doug. Oh, wait, are you gonna see it one more time?
No, come on. That was my review. That was my joke. You ruined my joke.
You already had the. I hate Aladdin or whatever at the beginning. Sorry, I forgot that. Are you gonna see it one more time?
Only if Doug comes with me and dresses as Jasmine in the slave costume.
All right. Bet.
I would
For
totally get
charity.
you in.
For charity.
For the kids!
Charity.
I can't top that.
Charity.
Nothing I can say. I moved the water ready to, and I can't.
I'm
I
sorry.
can't top that. Screw it. Screw it.
Any final thoughts at all?
Me.
Has this changed your perspective a little bit, or are you willing to give it another chance, maybe, or what?
it's tempting to do a nostalgia critic on it. I'm not gonna lie,
okay.
but because I'll say this: it's fun to talk about because some of the changes are kind of interesting. But yeah, I felt like you guys said people laughed at your screening, so
Yeah,
maybe
they did.
there is more to the humor than I'm giving credit for. So that was kind of the element, even though I didn't dislike as much as Beauty and the Beast. That was the one where I'm like, that's where you're losing it because it's not funny and the original was so funny. But I'm like, if it is making people laugh,
Yeah.
maybe
Well,
it's.
sure,
Maybe I can say Beauty and the Beast is worse. I'll budge that much.
Yes. Okay. Well, I have the Jasmine costume and Malcolm can dance. So if you want to do a nostalgia critic episode,
Yes.
I'm just saying.
The Jasmine outfit for me, right? As we
Yeah.
established,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
clearly.
Exactly.
Perfect.
I'm gonna be the Sultan.
Yes. Do it.
Baba.
Baba. Yes. All right. Malcolm.
Yeah, I just really did enjoy the live action one. It touched on some tones that the original didn't, but the original is still fantastic and phenomenal in its own way. For me, like I feel like there are two different tones. One is more grounded and one is more respectful to the Middle Eastern culture, diaspora, what have you. Whereas the original one is still like fun and enjoyable in its own right. So I enjoy both for entirely different reasons, but I still feel like the live action one is potentially. I'm changing it.
You're changing it now.
I am
He's
changing
going
it.
There are some
back on
changes
it.
here, man. People
Yeah,
change
yeah,
things
yeah.
around.
Yeah, I'm saying that it is potentially a stronger film waiting to happen. Well, that can't happen now, but like a fan.
We can make
like
it.
a
So
fan's
now you're
picture-
saying it's not stronger?
I'm saying that.
I'm saying that I'm not saying.
I'm saying that it is potentially stronger. Like they had a lot of missed opportunities to really turn this into something
Right.
fantastic.
Okay.
But like that's why I'm kind of like vying for live action. I'm like, ooh, like it had me going like ooh a lot of times. Whereas when I was watching the animated version, I'm like, yeah, this is a Disney film. Yeah, I'm having fun.
Mm-hmm.
But with the recent one, it wasn't like just rewatching the same film necessarily. Like they were hitting some new tones and some things that we hadn't really seen before.
Right.
So,
No, I agree
especially
with
with
that.
Jasmine.
I agree with that for sure. My opinion on it was when I first saw it. I mean, I went into this one not, like I said earlier, just not. I was ready to hate it.
Yes,
because I
same.
had heard so many things and how it looked. I was like, I have to see it. I have to.
Yeah.
But hearing your guys being so positive, and I was like, there's got to be something to this.
Yeah.
And I did end up really enjoying a lot of the movie. Like we talked about these flaws throughout this entire conversation that we've been having. There are obvious things that they so easily could have fixed that they didn't, in the name of probably keeping it closer to the animated version. But when it's hitting its stride, I think it's great.
Yeah.
It just overall as a movie, it's just pretty good. I think because there's a lot of peaks and valleys in this for me. Now I do think doing a sequel, doing Return of Jafar with a different actor playing Jafar could be really good.
Now, I
Because-
really want to see the third one with John Rhys Davies
Yes.
coming in as Salah, as Aladdin's father,
As Salah?
as two characters
Okay.
reprised.
In the Jasmine Sledge.
Yes!
Exactly. I do think if they do want to do like any kind of sequel to, because they're doing a Maleficent sequel, so it's not outside the realm of possibility considering how much money that this Aladdin movie made.
I think they're doing another Jungle Book.
Yeah, well there you go.
What?
So if
Really?
they
Wait,
Well,
what?
it doesn't
What?
end. Think about it. He doesn't go back at the end. Stupid movie.
Oh, wait, yeah, there was an animated Jungle Book too, wasn't there?
Let's hope it's as
Well,
good as
oh,
that.
I still haven't seen the live action.
Yeah,
this is
nothing.
the only Disney live action one I've seen. So, but going with a story like Return to Jafar that's not nearly as revered because it's a directed VHS back then movie, like just having the concept of Jafar coming back and playing with that concept and being able to do your own thing with that. That's where I think they could really make something great.
I think that'd be
That's-
fun. Though, like that. The idea again, them being parallel, I think would be really cool, and it would make a good sequel.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, like
doing-
it'd be new territory.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Just taking the basic concept of the Return of Jafar, and like it would be super interesting to see how like maybe Genie gets his powers back or something. Because in this, his
Yeah.
powers are gone. How would he get his powers back?
No. Okay, I'm calling it right here. If y'all do an Aladdin sequel, I haven't seen I've seen a little bit of the cartoon. There's an Aladdin cartoon.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Remember the female genie?
What's the...
There was a female
Oh
genie.
my god.
But bring her in, get some sort of really funny
damn.
celebrity to do that. And you can have fun with that, man. I'm
Sure.
telling you.
Man, I almost totally. I'm like cloudy on that one. But
Yeah, because they made her just as silly and wacky
Right,
and stuff
right,
like
right.
that. It's like, you can have fun with it, man. Return to Jafar, let's do it.
Right. Yeah. And
That'd be like the only live action remake I would look forward to with Disney.
I think it's safe to say that they probably are going to do...
This
Well,
one is
we'll
performing
see.
pretty well,
Yeah.
like reviews wise. Because like Beauty and the Beast came out and it was poorly reviewed, right?
I don't remember.
That was actually kind of
Really?
positive.
This
yeah.
has got like a 50-something on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
for its
this
score.
one got hit pretty hard. But...
So it's
Well, yeah, even that's not too hard. That's
Right.
still over half.
right.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
audience score was way different, but you probably shouldn't trust the audience score at this point on Rotten Tomatoes. But yeah, I mean, I would love to see what they could do with it. I mean, keep all the cast except recast Jafar. No offense to that guy. I just think unless they really go,
If they take that angle,
right, if they really
that
go
would be
deep
cool.
into showing some of his origins and having it be like half prequel, half sequel, and maybe focusing more on Jafar, because the guy can act, like he can do a good dramatic scene, but you gotta like focus on like his strengths, like we're talking about, like focus on the things that he does well, and really make the character his own.
Yeah.
Then I think that you could have something really great on your hands.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
Are they going to do that? Probably not. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, but it is interesting to think about because all these other live action Disney remakes are out there, and they do have these bad sequels that came out direct to DVD or VHS or whatever. Like, what are they going to do with all that? Are they gonna try
Wouldn't
to
it be
follow
amazing
that?
if the live action sequels were actually better than the original? Like, they were actually better than the direct to DVD
Right.
sequels.
It's possible.
Okay, somebody asked this on Twitter today. What if you had to choose one movie to make into a live action? What would it be that was Disney?
Oh yeah, I said Sword in the Stone.
I
Which
said...
would be freaking amazing.
That'd be good.
I think
Yeah,
they're supposed to do that on Disney Plus, I think, though. But
Yeah.
I don't know how good that's going to be. But I think right now, like, I think that would be post Game of Thrones type stuff. People would be wanting
You
it.
can do a lot
true.
with that.
Yeah.
And you can play with tones. Yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I said Monsters, Inc.
Oh.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
I was like,
I
that's
didn't
Pixar. It doesn't count.
No, I said Mulan.
You had me going though.
Mulan, they are making.
They are though.
Yeah,
They're
they are
already
making
doing.
Mulan, I that could be great too, but it's like.
Yeah.
I can see a good Mulan.
Yeah, but it's also like this
With Kung
same
Fu?
kind of problem. I
Oh,
hope so.
man.
I hope so. I think Mulan could be great. Yeah, live action Mulan.
I think they're making it, but they're not gonna do it the way I want it. Hunchback. I think if you did
Oh, now they're gonna do that.
right.
But make it dark.
No. Yeah, to do it like go. Here's my thought.
It's the pitch meeting.
Disney, you can have your first R-rated movie. You just do the Broadway version of Hunchback, the
Yeah.
one you already made,
Yeah.
just on Broadway, because it
Yes.
follows the book a lot more. It makes them you can make it for adults.
Yes.
And this can be new territory because the songs are amazing. It's so much more growing up. There's no singing gargoyles. It's all in his head at least. The whole church talks to him. It has the downer ending. It's really morbid, but it's super adult.
Is Hellfire in there?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, it sure is.
No, there's like three or four. No, there's like 3 or 4 songs that's like Hellfire in the Broadway.
Yeah,
It's
it's
really
so
great.
dark.
Yeah, and but the Broadway one is very minimalistic. They didn't have much of a budget. Imagine like a recreated Notre Dame and everything. It's so good.
Oh, it'd be, especially since obviously the church burned down and stuff like.
Oh.
Yeah, it'd be like,
They're not gonna go.
What, did you just hear this?
No, I
Did?
I didn't make
Surprised
that
nobody
connection.
talked
that's
about
why.
that.
That's why I was like, now
No,
they're
I
gonna
didn't
do
make
that.
that connection.
They're gonna do the fade shot like to today, and it's like half burned down. And stuff.
Oh, we did that played
Hellfire.
into it.
Yikes.
Yeah. Well, because they are doing that, right? They are doing.
From what I
Hunchback.
heard, yeah, they're doing Hunchback, but they're just gonna make it like the cartoon.
Yeah.
But
I'm
honestly,
worried about that one.
Me too. It's my favorite animated Disney.
I was gonna say,
Is it?
I love it so much. I love to see any different interpretation or version of it because I do love those songs. I do love those characters. I love to, so even if it's bad, I'd be kind of excited to see it.
That is my
Okay.
favorite animated Disney, so I'm with you.
Yeah.
We should go see it together.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so since you said that, then Atlantis, I think would be
Oh,
so
yes!
cool.
Okay, Atlantis, because I mean that is a really good animated movie, but that's not like a sacred one, right?
You could fuck it up.
Yeah.
Piercing.
But you could go a different way with it and like really explore the worlds and stuff.
Yeah.
Atlantis would be great.
Change the monsters,
Yeah.
like do what they want.
The mythos and stuff in that movie is really cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah, that
You
would
can
be a
do
lot
it
of
more
fun.
than just we want money. Like
Yeah,
you can
right.
take that shit out and really do something fun with it. Yeah, no, that'd be fun.
Have you guys seen
That'd be
Cole
so cool.
Sprouse in the lead? What's the Milo? He dressed up as Milo for Halloween.
No.
He looked just like him.
Can we get a cameo from Michael J. Fox? Just a
Yeah.
cameo. He's King of Atlantis.
He's the old guy.
He's the old guy that sends him on.
Oh yeah. Do
Totally.
it! I want to see that.
Oh,
so bad.
damn. Yeah, Disney to Atlantis.
All right, I mean, it's not like I'm totally losing hope yet on these live action remakes, but I mean, it's so obviously just a cash grab mostly.
It is.
I would like to see them just make those changes and really take a risk with these.
Or
You know?
do some new movies.
Weird, right?
Right? No, I agree.
Weird.
I totally agree with that, but it's obvious they're going to keep going with this.
Why
so
are we doing these?
Because
Right.
it makes money.
Right.
Half the effort.
It shouldn't
But I've only
exist.
seen it
None of
3
these should
times.
exist.
Why is it making money?
I've only seen it 3 times.
You're gonna see it 3 more times at least.
Shut your mouth.
I'll
The
go
sequel,
one time.
the sequel to Aladdin is just going to be the return of Jafar in the slave Jasmine uniform.
I want to see
Man,
it.
I haven't even seen John Wick 3 yet.
Oh, that's
Oh,
good.
that's
fun.
good.
Yeah,
John wants to see Aladdin again.
And that's a Disney live action remake, so I mean,
Oh man.
of Pinocchio. As we all know.
They're doing that too, aren't they? I think they're doing
Right.
a Pinocchio.
I heard that.
Actually, a Pinocchio I would dig too if they make it more like the book. They can have fun with it.
They
Yeah.
already did that with Jonathan Taylor Thomas in like the late 90s.
No, but a good one.
No, but I mean,
I
they already
shouldn't
did
say. I haven't seen it. I don't know.
It wasn't. From what I remember, it wasn't very good.
Okay.
I remember them trying to make a Geppetto thing too, but it's just like way darker. I don't know. Whatever. We'll see what happens with all that stuff. Well, thanks for watching this, guys. I thought this would be a really fun thing to do because we have so many differing opinions here about this movie.
And the court reporter was great.
Yes, we're gonna bring that back next time for sure. Maybe we'll do this with Lion King if we feel like the same way, or if there's any movie. This would just be fun to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a good
I'm
time.
doing
I
this.
feel like I worked out my emotions.
Right.
Yeah.
We're all looking
I
forward to
feel
this.
better. I feel like we've made a lot of progress
Right,
today.
yeah.
you know?
Next
Yeah.
week we'll meet same time, same bat place.
Yes,
Same bat
exactly.
place.
That's right, same exact place. All right, well, I'll see you guys back here on the channel very soon, and you can see these guys more often than I do. So see them on Channel Awesome, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.